The coldest city in the world. A journey into Yakutsk, where cold defines life itself. Where the cold rules all. There are places on Earth where cold is merely a season. Then there are places where cold is a way of life. Where winter is not a few months long, but an almost permanent state of existence. Where breath freezes in midair, eyelashes turn white within seconds, and the ground itself remains locked in ice for eternity. Welcome to Yakutsk, widely recognized as the coldest city in the world. Located deep in eastern Siberia, in Russia's Sakha Republic, Yakutsk is not just cold by reputation, it is cold by measurable, record-breaking standards. Temperatures here routinely fall below -40 degrees Celsius, and have been recorded as low as -64 degrees Celsius. At these extremes, exposed skin can freeze in under a minute, metal shatters like glass, and everyday tasks become acts of survival. Yet, despite these brutal conditions, over 300,000 people live here. Children go to school, markets operate, planes land, life continues. This is the story of how Yakutsk came to exist, how humans survive in such an unforgiving climate, and what life looks like in the coldest city on Earth. The geography of extreme cold. Yakutsk sits on the banks of the Lena River, one of the longest rivers in the world. On a map, it lies closer to the Arctic Circle than most major cities, yet it is not technically within the Arctic itself. Still, its climate rivals, and often surpasses, the cold of polar regions. The primary reason for Yakutsk's extreme cold is continentality. The city is located deep inside a massive landmass, far from oceans that might moderate temperatures. During winter, there is nothing to stop the Arctic air from settling and stagnating over the region. Another major factor is permafrost. Yakutsk is built entirely on continuous permafrost, meaning the ground beneath the city remains frozen year-round, sometimes extending hundreds of meters deep. This frozen earth acts like a giant natural freezer, locking cold into the landscape and preventing heat from escaping. In winter, daylight becomes scarce. The sun rises late and sets early, offering little warmth. Combined with clear skies, heat radiates away from the ground rapidly, plunging temperatures even lower at night. The result is a city trapped in a climatic extreme unlike almost anywhere else on Earth. A brief history of Yakutsk. Yakutsk was founded in 1632 by Russian Cossacks as a military outpost and trading settlement. At the time, Siberia was largely unexplored by Europeans, known only as a vast, frozen wilderness. The original settlement struggled from the very beginning. Supplies were scarce. Winters were long and deadly. Many early settlers did not survive their first year. However, Yakutsk's location proved strategically important. It became a key center for fur trading, exploration, and later, administration of the surrounding region. Over centuries, the city grew slowly but steadily. Indigenous Yakut people, also known as the Sakha, had already mastered survival in this climate long before the arrival of Russians. Their knowledge, how to build insulated homes, preserve food, and raise livestock in extreme cold, became essential to the city's survival. By the 20th century, Yakutsk had transformed from a remote outpost into a regional capital, fueled by mining, scientific research, and its role as a logistical hub in northeastern Siberia. Temperatures that defy imagination. To understand Yakutsk, one must understand its temperatures. In winter, average temperatures hover around -40 degrees Celsius. Cold snaps regularly push the mercury to -50 or lower. At these temperatures, Breathing unprotected air causes pain in the lungs. Diesel fuel freezes. Smartphones shut down within minutes. Eyeglasses stick to skin. Cars are rarely turned off during winter. Engines are left running day and night because restarting a frozen engine can be impossible. Children are only allowed to skip school once temperatures drop below certain thresholds, often -50 degrees, meaning what most of the world considers uninhabitable is still considered manageable here. Ironically, summers in Yakutsk can be surprisingly warm, with temperatures occasionally exceeding 30 degrees Celsius. This extreme seasonal contrast further defines life in the city. Life on permafrost. Building a city on permanently frozen ground presents unique challenges. If heat from buildings melts the permafrost beneath them, the ground can shift and collapse. To prevent this, almost all buildings in Yakutsk are constructed on elevated stilts, allowing cold air to circulate underneath and keep the ground frozen. Water pipes cannot be buried underground. Instead, they run above ground in insulated corridors, snaking across the city like frozen arteries. Roads buckle and crack as the soil expands and contracts. Constant maintenance is required just to keep basic infrastructure functioning. Yet, despite these obstacles, Yakutsk functions as a modern city, proof of human adaptability under extreme conditions. Daily life in the coldest city. Life in Yakutsk revolves around preparation. Clothing is not a fashion choice, it is survival equipment. Residents wear layers of fur, insulated boots, face coverings, and gloves thick enough to withstand hours in sub-zero temperatures. Simple tasks become complex. A short walk requires planning. Exposed skin must be covered. Time outdoors is limited. Food plays a crucial role. Traditional Yakut cuisine includes frozen raw fish known as stroganina, sliced thin and eaten immediately. Meat and fish freeze naturally outdoors, acting as a permanent refrigerator. Social life adapts too. People gather indoors. Homes are built to retain heat, with thick walls and small windows. Despite the harshness, residents often describe a deep sense of resilience and pride. Surviving here is a badge of honor. Childhood in extreme cold. Children in Yakutsk grow up with cold as a constant companion. From an early age, they learn how to dress properly, how to breathe in extreme temperatures, and how to recognize frostbite. Playtime happens indoors for much of the year, but outdoor activities still occur, just briefly and carefully. Schools remain open even when temperatures reach levels that would shut down entire cities elsewhere in the world. Only at the most extreme cold levels are classes cancelled. This environment produces a unique form of toughness, where endurance and discipline are ingrained from childhood. Economy and survival. Yakutsk's economy relies heavily on natural resources, particularly diamonds, gold, and other minerals. The Sakha Republic is one of the world's richest regions in terms of diamond reserves. Mining in extreme cold presents enormous challenges. Equipment freezes. Workers face constant danger from exposure. Operations must be carefully timed around weather conditions. In addition to mining, Yakutsk is a center for scientific research, particularly climate studies and permafrost science. Researchers from around the world study the city to better understand cold climate engineering and climate change. The psychology of extreme environments. Living in the coldest city on Earth affects the human mind. Long winters, limited sunlight, and isolation can contribute to seasonal depression. To combat this, residents emphasize community, cultural traditions, and festivals. Yakut culture includes music, dance, storytelling, and spiritual practices deeply connected to nature. These traditions help maintain psychological balance in an otherwise harsh environment. Many residents say that the cold teaches patience, humility, and respect for nature. Yakutsk and climate change. Ironically, one of the coldest places on Earth is experiencing the effects of global warming faster than many warmer regions. As temperatures rise, permafrost begins to thaw. This threatens buildings, roads, and pipelines. Entire neighborhoods face structural instability. Scientists warn that thawing permafrost could release massive amounts of greenhouse gases, accelerating climate change further. Yakutsk now stands on the front line of a global environmental crisis, its frozen foundation slowly changing beneath it. Why people stay? With such extreme conditions, one might ask, why do people stay? For many, Yakutsk is home. Family roots run deep. Culture, identity, and tradition bind people to the land. Others are drawn by opportunity, jobs in mining, research, and government. Some simply embrace the challenge, finding meaning in survival where others would flee. Yakutsk is not just a city. It is a testament to human endurance. A city that defies the cold. Yakutsk stands as a reminder that humans can adapt to nearly any environment on Earth. Against crushing cold, frozen ground, and months of darkness, life persists. The coldest city in the world is not lifeless or desolate. It is vibrant, resilient, and alive. In Yakutsk, cold does not end life, it shapes it. And as long as the Lena River flows and the permafrost holds, the people of Yakutsk will continue to call the coldest city on Earth their home.